Once upon a time, on a dusty road between two small towns, a tired little donkey made a very silly discovery and decided to use it as a shortcut. Long, long ago, in the great collection of animal fables called the Panchatantra, there lived a salt merchant. He had a donkey who carried heavy bags of salt to the market every single day. The road to market was long. The donkey's legs were tired. The salt bags sat heavy on his back, pressing down with every slow step he took. One morning, the donkey and the merchant came to a shallow stream. The water was cool and calm. The donkey stepped carefully onto the smooth, wet stones beneath. But the stones were slippery. The donkey lost his footing and tumbled, splash, right down into the stream. His salt bags dipped deep into the water. Now, salt dissolves in water. That is simply what salt does. The bags grew lighter as the salt melted away quietly into the cool, flowing stream. When the donkey stood up and climbed out of the water, something wonderful had happened. The bags on his back were nearly empty. They felt as light as a summer breeze. The donkey blinked his big brown eyes. He swished his tail slowly. A thought began to form in his very small, very tired brain. The merchant was upset, of course. All that salt, washed away and lost. He loaded fresh bags onto the donkey, and they walked home quietly as the sun dipped low. But the donkey had not forgotten that light, lovely feeling, that floating feeling, that almost no weight at all feeling. He thought about it all evening long. The very next morning, the merchant loaded the donkey with fresh, heavy bags of salt again. They set off down the same road toward the same stream. When they reached the stream, the donkey did not slip by accident this time. Oh no. This time, very slowly and very deliberately, he bent his knees and lay right down and in the water. The salt dissolved away just as before. The bags grew light. The donkey stood up, shook himself dry, and trotted forward with a very pleased expression on his face. The merchant saw exactly what had happened. He said nothing. He simply watched, and he thought. A plan began to grow quietly inside his clever mind. The next day the merchant did not load the donkey with salt. Instead, he filled the bags with cotton, big, soft, fluffy bundles of cotton from his storeroom. Cotton is very light when it is dry, but cotton soaks up water like a sponge. The more water it drinks, the heavier and heavier it becomes. The donkey did not know any of this. He only knew his plan. He marched along happily, already looking forward to his clever little trick at the stream. They reached the stream. The donkey looked left. He looked right. Then, just as before, he carefully lay himself down in the cool, shallow water with a satisfied But something was wrong. The bags were not getting lighter. They were getting heavier. The cotton was drinking up the water, gulping it greedily with every passing moment. The donkey tried to stand. His legs wobbled. The bags were now so heavy with water that he could barely lift himself. He struggled and splashed and huffed. The merchant walked calmly to the edge of the stream. He looked at the donkey kindly but firmly. He helped the donkey to his feet without a single word of scolding. The donkey trudged out of the stream soaking wet, carrying bags far heavier than any salt had ever been. His clever trick had turned completely on its head. From that day onward, the donkey never lay down in the stream again. He walked steadily, carried his load faithfully and arrived at market without any tricks at all. The Panchatantra teaches us this gently. A shortcut born from laziness rarely stays short, and the world has a quiet, patient way of balancing things out in the end. And now the little donkey rests in his stable, and the stars have come out over the dusty road, and everything is still and quiet and perfectly at peace. Sweet dreams, the end.